Moving all the way up from 20th place in Q2 2017 to 10th place in Q3 2017 is Ninjas in Pajamas. And I've got to say, it's not because of any roster changes. In fact, I thought it was because they got rid of Freiburg, but when I actually checked, their largest amount of prize money that they won in this quarter was still while Freiburg was in the team. Either way, NIP won $10,000 at ESL One Cologne 2017, then $5,000 at DreamHack Valencia 2017, where they took first place and Freiburg was still in the team. Then at DreamHack Masters Malmo, they lost to G2 but managed to win $22,000, with E-League rounding off their prize money for Q3 2017 with $8,750. Now in the end, NIP managed to obtain $90,750 in prize money for this quarter alone, and that's pretty dang good, enough to get them into the top 10. In 9th place is virtus.pro, who have had some of the worst results and placings in their stint as a team ever. Yet somehow, VP have mustered a lot of prize money, enough to move from 13th place in Q2 to 9th in Q3, and it all came off the back of one placing, this being the PGL Major in Krakow, where VP placed top 4 and gathered $70,000, which accounts approximately for 63.4% of their total prize money for this quarter. Other than that, there isn't much more to say about VP. They did place 4th at ESG Tour Mykonos, losing 2-1 to SK and grabbing $24,056.15, but all other results are either last placings or bottom 4 at a LAN, so not really much more to talk about. However, these results have allowed virtus.pro to win $110,000 in prize money for Q3 2017. Funnily enough, Team Liquid has stayed in the same place as they were in Q2 2017, 8th. Now, mainly 2 tournaments gave them their exorbitant amount of prize money, these being their top 2 placings at ESG Tour Mykonos 2017 and ESL New York 2017, which handed out $48,112.31 and $50,000 respectively. Now, Liquid hasn't really attended a lot of LANs in Q3 2017, only 4 in fact, so these are very good results considering they haven't had very many opportunities to play for the big bucks. In 7th place is the French super team G2, and just like Team Liquid, G2 have only attended 4 LAN events this quarter. However, they've had one really crazy result, which was DreamHack Masters Malmo, where they took first place and garnered $100,000, which accounted for 84.2% of their total prize money for this quarter. Now, this is a huge disappointment for the team, which has been consistently in the top 3 spots for the past 2 quarters, so hopefully in Q4 they can get back to where they belong. But yeah, I mean, I can't really blame them. I mean, they went to 4 tournaments, they won 1, so I guess that's kind of a good result, but it's not really much to say. This is kind of a slow quarter, so I'm not going to blame them, but I expected better. Rounding off the bottom 5 of the top 10 earners is North, who have finally surpassed their rivals G2 in prize money for once. Now, Q3 was North's most successful quarter thus far, raking in $141,000, and it's really no easy feat. North had to put in a lot of work to get here, and it has paid off, and this was kind of the slowest quarter of the year, so for this to be their most successful, it goes to show that they did indeed improve on their results. Now, at the PGL Major Krakow, North became legends by securing a 5th to 8th placing, which net them $35,000. Then they met their rivals G2 at the final of DreamHack Masters Malmo 2017. Now, they did lose 2-0 to G2, but they gained $50,000 in prize money, with their final event for the 3rd quarter being DreamHack Montreal 2017, which the team won by defeating Immortals, giving the Danes an additional $50,000. Now, overall, North has had some very solid placings, which gave them the large amounts of prize money that they got, so even though G2 has bested North every time they face them on LAN, North has finally a victory in the form of more prize money in one quarter. Starting off the top 5 is unbelievably Mousesports. Now, I didn't really think Mousesports was that big of a team on the radar, but here they are in the top 5 for one quarter. Now, don't celebrate or rejoice too early, Mousesports fans, as 82.5% of their prize money for this quarter came off their miracle run and victory at ESG Tour Mykonos 2017, which net the team $120,280.07. Now, in addition, Mousesports attended 7 offline LAN events, 5 of which had prize money. So, even though they are in the top 5 teams, it seems to be somewhat of an anomaly, and they really only had one good result, which was Mykonos, where they beat Liquid in a best of 5. Either way, hopefully Mousesports won't be a one-hit wonder and can continue their success and surprise at another tournament in Q4. But until then, I'm not so sure about this team. They attended a lot more events than, say, G2, and they only won, like a couple $1,000s more, so I don't know what to say. What would the top 4 be like without arguably one of the best, if not the best, team in the world? That being FaZe Clan, who managed to rake in $155,750 in cash, and honestly, I'm not at all surprised by this. And I think absolutely no one is. The expectation of this team is to place in the top 5 for prize money almost every quarter. And in only one quarter has FaZe disappointed us, which was Q1 2017, where they finished in 6th place. And I mean, 6th place in and of itself is still pretty dang good. Now, if we go back to Q3 2017, which is the focus of this video, FaZe has overall pretty decent results. They attended 4 LAN events, 2 of which they finished in the top 4, and they won only one of those events, which was ESL 1 New York 2017, which gave them $125,000, and that made up 80.2% of their total prize money for the quarter. Now, I guess from here you can do some simple subtraction and see how the other $30,750 came from, and it came from those other 3 events, which averages at $10,250 per event. So I guess you could say, other than that one ESL New York victory, not really great things for FaZe. In the end, I still have high hopes for this team, just like last quarter, as they have Olofmeister and Guardian, who are now definite upgrades over Kiyoshima and Alu. So, if they continue to make top 5 for prize money, they can pretty much be guaranteed to make top 5 for prize money for the entire year. Are you mad? 'Cause I'm not. Those are just some of the famous words that come to mind when I think of the Immortals. I'm gonna miss this team, as the departure of Henny, Lucas, and KNG means that this rising star roster has just unfortunately come to an end, and it's purely out of social reasons. Now, I guess we can just appreciate at the very least that 2 Brazilian teams are in the top 3 best earners for a quarter. Yeah, I kind of did a bit of a spoiler, but you'll look at the chart anyway on your screen, I'm sure, so you already know this. Now, it's pretty amazing considering that these guys are from impoverished backgrounds and a pretty poor country. So for them to be, earning hundreds of thousands of dollars is a very big accomplishment. And, I think that's something that we need to appreciate within this scene and how much it can change people's lives, this one game. Now, I personally just wish that the players kind of had a lot more discipline and that they had a lot more maturity, because I really believed that this team in time, could have accomplished some really big things, or at least some of these players, they could have joined SK at any time and been, top contenders to really improve that roster. And at the very least, I saw these players winning another trophy or 2 as this roster. But, unfortunately, good things come to an end, and as much as I would like to see a mini SK Gaming like team, it's just not going to happen anymore. Now, before Immortals broke apart, they attended 6 events for this quarter, placing top 2 at 2 of them, Now, one of these was the all-important major at Krakow, where the Immortals had a pretty star-studded performance, but they did eventually fall flat to Gambit at the end 2-1. Now, that loss, as bad as it was, they could have won the whole major. They did rake in $150,000, which is 78.2% of their prize money for the quarter, as well as their largest amount of prize money for the year thus far. So it was a major accomplishment for them. Now, this team also made it to the final of DreamHack Montreal, which is very infamous. And even though KNG had visa issues and no sleep for 3 days, as he put it, they managed to lose 2-0 to North, which led to the famous incident which imploded this roster because they had to forfeit the first map. Now, I think it's kind of funny that for the Immortals, their greatest moments kind of led to their demise. And either way, this team had one of the best quarters that I've ever seen for a rising team. I mean, to even go from, basically being, I would say, top 10 to top 3 is a huge deal for this team. But as we all know, it's ended. So, I kind of put this as a very comparable, I guess, situation to the 2016 Optic Gaming roster. That roster didn't have any of the social issues, but in terms of success, how fast they rose within the scene, I think that's pretty comparable. So, if you don't believe that, prove it, or I guess you can end the sentence for me. Not surprising to be in the top 2 for this quarter is SK Gaming, who is arguably also the world's best team, just like FaZe. And I gotta say, they're probably the most consistent team for the entire year. Now, this is not their most successful quarter, but $206,006.15 is nothing to scoff at, especially in the context of them hitting top 2 for the quarter. But I feel like SK Gaming could have done a whole lot more had it not been for their poor performance at the PGL Major, where they placed 5th to 8th, where if they probably performed up to standard, they would have been in the top 4 or even won that event. Unfortunately though, a better team won on that day, and I can't blame the Brazilians for losing admirably, nor the team that beat them for being better. Now, SK Gaming in this quarter attended 7 LAN events, winning 2, placing top 4 in 4 events, and their worst result being 9th to 12th at E-League Premier 2017. Now, their biggest event was ESL 1 Cologne, where they won $100,000, which made up 54.96% of their prize money for the quarter, and their next biggest take was at the PGL Major, which gave them an additional $35,000. Now, their last 2 significant events were ESG Tour Mykonos 2017 and ESL 1 New York, which gave them $24,056.15 and $25,000 respectively. Now, had SK won ESG Tour Mykonos and New York 2017, we could have been looking at a total of $402,230.07 in prize money for SK Gaming. Unfortunately, that would have still put them placed at 2nd for this quarter, as Gambit beat them to the top spot. Now, at the end of the day, this team is a legendary team, and if this success and consistency rolls into 2018 as well, we may be looking at the best CSGO roster of all time. And Fallen and company truly are some of the best I've ever laid my eyes on in any esport, maybe even in any sport. I mean, this kind of consistency and dominance is very rare in almost anything. And for sure, they deserve all the success that they've had so far. And this is coming from someone who doesn't even like SK back from when they were called Kaboom and Keyed Stars and all the rosters that brought them up to where they are now. But for now, I gotta say, they definitely deserve the prestige that they have and the position that they have within the title of CSGO. Last but not least is Gambit Gaming, and I mean, it's no surprise really. They did win the most important event of the quarter and arguably the most important event of the year. Now, I can't really say much about Gambit, mostly because the team isn't the same without Zeus, and, well, also because since this, they haven't really achieved anything like their victory at the Major. Now, in the third quarter, Gambit attended 3 LAN events, one of which was the PGL Major, where they won by defeating Immortals 2-1 in the final, and gaining $500,000, which makes up a total of 94.69% of their total prize money for the quarter. Now, at DreamHack Masters Malmo, they did finish top 4, but that was followed by 5th to 6th at ESG Tour Mykonos, which combined gave the other $28,000 from this quarter, obviously. So I think this is just more of an anomaly in terms of a performance, and we probably won't see them in the top 5 ever again, let alone in first place for a quarter. Now, I will say this though, they are currently in 5th place for prize money for the whole year thus far, so if they manage to continue to earn an additional 100,000 or 2, they can potentially remain in the top 5. But you have to remember, this is a big ask from a team which appears to have gotten rather lucky. They've lost their in-game leader, and FaZe and North are just behind them for total prize money for the year, and they seem to be a much more dangerous team compared to Gambit. So in the end, the numbers are the numbers, and I can't change them. So whatever you see here is what has happened, and I can only hope that in terms of success, that they get to continue this and make a whole lot more of, an exciting scene for me to look at, and especially because I'm the guy who's documenting this prize money. So for me to look at every quarter and every year and kind of see the progression of some of these teams, it's actually kind of good for me to see, and I kind of get hyped when you see, a team move up to a place that you didn't expect. So here's to hoping that your favorite team out there is gonna, make a lot of money, because I guess it grows the scene a lot further and it makes for some interesting kinds of videos to make. So I'll just finish off with some extra facts about prize money in Q3 2017, and then from there we'll wrap up the video. So I don't really have a lot of these extra facts about prize money for this quarter, because there wasn't a lot that happened and there wasn't a lot of interesting things, because there was only really about 5 big events this quarter. Most of the time we get maybe like 10, so yeah, you're just gonna have to deal with this quarter being a little bit boring, because the Major kind of took over a lot of the time that teams invested into, practice and what kind of events were scheduled. So, first fact, 2 of the top 3 teams came from Brazil, which was barely even a major region in CSGO a mere 3 years ago. So, it just goes to show that if you have, skill, hard work, and time, you can make yourself into something successful if you're willing to put in the work. Now, for the second fact, Gambit earned 5.8 times more than NIP did, who placed 10th, and they earned 25.44 times more than Renegades did, who placed 20th. The third fact is the gap in prize money between first place and 10th place was $437,263.91, and the gap between first place and 20th place was $507,263.91, which is more than the top prize of winning a major in 2017. Now, for the fourth fact, the largest change in placement was both NIP and Gambit, who moved up equally 10 places compared to the last quarter, with Liquid and FaZe, who were the only 2 teams to not change their placings between quarters. And for the last fact, Optic only earned $10,000 due to them losing the majority of their players, leaving only Mixwell to create a new roster, and based off my rules and guidelines, the majority of the players keep the majority of the prize money, so because they split off onto other teams like Cloud9 and Liquid, in the end, that prize money kind of just went away. But next year, I'll put in, if this new Optic roster survives, I'll put in the prize money and start a clean slate. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video. comment if you had anything like a question, or if you wanted to say something about this video, and subscribe if you want more prize money videos like this. I do one every quarter, I'll do one every year, and I'll do a wrap up for the end of 2017. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.